Okay, thanks for everybody for joining us this afternoon. I'm just going to wait a couple more minutes for latecomers to log on, and then we will get started. For joining us this afternoon, I'm just going to wait a couple more minutes for latecomers to log on, and then we will get started. Okay, we'll just give it 30 more seconds, then we will get going. Okay, as I mentioned, thank you all very much for joining us today. I'm going to be moderating questions throughout, so please leave your comments and questions on the Zoom and we'll address them at the end. We're also live streaming on YouTube, so you can leave comments there too. If you have access to a smart TV, you can even relax and watch this on YouTube instead if you like. The purpose of the session today is to review the typical customer journey that we go through within professional services and how we can use technology to make the handover between the stages as seamless as possible. So this is our agenda for the session. We read a lot of Salesforce research, as well as following the latest trends in sales and marketing and making those processes as efficient and data-led as possible. In their recent State of the Connected Customer report, Salesforce surveyed over 6,700 consumers and business buyers globally in order to determine the factors influencing the customer's expectations, the emerging technologies that are influencing the future of customer experience, why brand trust is increasingly important, and how companies can foster it. If anybody is interested in studying this report in greater detail, then we can share it with them as well. I'll run through some headline stats in just a moment, but the key one that comes out of this report is that 76% of customers now report that it is easier than ever to take their business elsewhere. And as disruptive companies leverage breakthroughs in cloud, mobile, social, and AI technology to deliver personalized, valuable, and obviously immediate experiences, customers have more choice than ever, and as a result have grown to expect this superior experience from any businesses with whom they engage. So customers expect connected journeys. So break down your business silos. Look, we haven't got time to go through all the stats on this page, and neither is it particularly interesting to watch somebody read off a series of stats. So I'm just going to pick out some highlights that are relevant to our discussion as we proceed. Here we see 70% of customers say connected processes such as seamless handoffs or contextualized engagements based on earlier interactions are very, very important to winning their business. Customers expect personalization, and 84% of customers say being treated like a person rather than a number is very important to winning their business. And customers are twice as likely to view personalized offers as important versus unimportant. Customers expect innovation. Customers actively seek to buy from the most innovative companies, that is, those that consistently introduce new products and services based on customer needs and new technology. And customers are nearly 10 times more likely to view AI as revolutionary versus insignificant. We'll touch on some of the AI work that we're doing in our demo too. Customers expect data protection, so make trust your priority. The majority of customers say that they're more afraid of their data being compromised now than they were 2 years ago. So doing things the way that you always have whilst trying to achieve some of the other factors that we're about to discuss might no longer be fit for purpose. So this is the customer journey we're going to talk through. And our role at Comnexa is to help businesses optimize their business processes and utilize technology to make these efficient, measurable, and data-led. The primary technology we harness when improving business processes is the CRM system because it's a central depository of information that we have about customers and gives any business the platform to operate their sales and marketing processes more efficiently. We've also demonstrated marketing automation tools, data reporting technology, and customer self-service portals in recent times. And so today we're going to be demonstrating the relationship between these various different technologies and how they can be used at each stage of the customer journey. So at a very high level, this is how we're defining the customer journey. We're saying that we find leads, nurture opportunities, close deals, onboard customers, and provide customer service. And of course, there are many other stages we could consider, such as KYC checks or quote building. But at a very high level, this is roughly the process that most of us follow. Although if you disagree or you think there are key stages that we've missed out, then please do let us know in the comments. So if I introduce the example of our business today, we've got a fictional financial services company called Lorem Ipsum, who do funds, trust, and pensions. And we're going to be discussing how their team works through the customer journey. So in the example, Dan is going to be playing the role of the marketing specialist and demonstrate how to find and nurture new leads. Rich is playing the role of our pensions business development or sales lead and will work with Dan to nurture these leads and close deals. And Axel is playing a business executive and member of our board. He's concerned with how the business determines strategy and the overall progress of the business. So we are now going to move into a live demo, and I'm going to hand over to Dan, who's going to talk to us about the early stages of this journey.
Thanks, Phil. So here at Lorem Ipsum, we're really lucky that we've connected all of our systems together using Salesforce. So this is really good because it allows us to have a completely connected customer journey from actually finding the customers to then winning them and then sort of keeping them as well. Our business has a really busy marketing team. So very often we are running events back when it's possible. We are hosting webinars, we're sponsoring events, we're doing all sorts of campaigns. So we can use the system to track every single campaign that we're running. And we can then use the system to track who we met at the campaign or who attended the campaign, and also any opportunities that arose from the campaign. So this is really helping our team to get very good return on investment analytics behind which campaigns are worth running, or indeed maybe which campaigns are not worth running at all. We can also then track the individuals involved in the campaigns, and everybody in the business can see this. So we can see who's been to which event. So if one of our team happened to be speaking to somebody, they'd have the complete context around that. As you'll see in the campaign section, we are currently running a campaign on some pension services that we're offering. So if we go to our company website, we can see that we're running a bit of a campaign about sort of our pensions and pension schemes. So here we have the option of filling out a form. This is really interesting because usually people will give away content for free or not ask for any information. However, because we're using quite clever marketing technology, we're going to ask somebody to fill out the form if they want to receive this white paper, which we've put quite a lot of effort into producing. So here we can see that Jane LeBrock has filled out the form and submitted the form. So she's requested to receive this white paper. And I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey around how our system uses this. So first of all, we have a complete marketing overview of what's going on in the business, all centralized. So here we can see if we've identified any prospects over time, prospects being people that marketing have identified. So if we click on prospects created, we can see this over time. If we then click on the prospects tab, here we can see all of the prospects that our marketing efforts have created over time. So we can see that there's 3 people, and we can most importantly see that these people have a store. And I'll come back to that in a minute. But if we open Jane, so this is Jane's marketing profile with our business. Here we can see on the right-hand side all of Jane's recent activities. So we can see that on the 13th of July, she went to the website, she looked at the form, but she didn't fill the form out. So that is a really interesting piece of information that we may not have known previously. The system uses an amalgamation of cookie tracking and various other technologies, which allow us to identify people and what they're doing on our website. We can then see that Jane returned to the website, rather interestingly, just before this webinar, and Jane then filled out the form and it was successful. So we can see here that she's being assigned a score of 50. This is really interesting to us. So we are using the storing technology over time. So the more Jane engages with our company and our marketing activities, the higher Jane's score. So if we send Jane an email and she clicks on a link, we can give her a score. If Jane visits our website again and she looks at a specific page, we can give her a score. And we've customized this using the system. So our company, Lorem Ipsum, has a complete scoring matrix which is relevant to us. And yes, we can then add the score up. So here we have the overall score of Jane as a prospect, and we can see that it's 50. So this is really interesting that from having nothing to then going through the journey, we've identified Jane, we can view the journey Jane's gone through, and now we've stored Jane appropriately. What's also quite interesting is our team are using automated journey builders. So this is drag and drop technology that any member of our marketing team can use. They don't have to be IT specialists or Salesforce specialists, and they can essentially create a journey. So this one here is demonstrating the journey that I just showed you in terms of Jane filling out the form. So we start the journey. If somebody completes the form, we then have a yes and no. So if somebody completes the form, what happens? We can then add a range of things. So if somebody completes the form, we can then trigger something to happen. In this instance, we've triggered that somebody completes the form and they receive an email with the form with the white paper in. However, we also saw in that example that Jane visited the website and she didn't complete the form, but we know that she looked at the form. That is very interesting because we know she's interested, but she just didn't fill out the form. So we could then trigger something to happen based on that. So we could maybe send her something completely different, or we could continue listening. We can also integrate this system with Google Ads and various advertising networks. So if we know that Jane went, she looked at the form but didn't fill it out, maybe we could put her on a nurturing campaign where she would see adverts about this over time as she's browsing other websites, which is great. And as we go through the journey, we can see what happens. So if we send Jane an email and she happens to click on a specific link, so let's say she clicked on another link about another service that we're offering, we could then trigger an action to happen. So we could notify somebody or we could send her another email. So the idea is that this technology is very easy for anyone in the marketing team to use. And our company is using it very successfully, from identifying who the people are to sort of warming them up, educating them about what we're doing, and taking them through a journey. However, this is all very good, but marketing can only go so far. In our business, we've joined marketing and business development up together. So if we go look at Jane's profile, we can see that Jane has a score of 50. So we've set the system that we think that our business development team should talk to Jane, because we know that Jane's interested. So what we've done is we've integrated the marketing solution with the CRM solution. So this is leads within our CRM. And you see how it's sort of very interconnected. So prospects look just like the leads. That's because it's all on the same platform. So if we open Jane's profile in the CRM system, we'll see that a lead has been created. And all of our business can see all of the marketing engagement that Jane's had over time. So if they're an established client or they're just a first prospect, everybody in the business can see all of the marketing activity, all of what people have been looking at. It's incredibly interesting. And we then have a dashboard that will show an overview of what Jane's been looking at. And finally, just before I hand over to Rich, because we know that Jane's come from the website and we've scored her highly, and we know what Jane is interested in, she's interested in a specific thing, we've automatically assigned an owner. So this is the business development representative who will be looking after Jane moving forward. It doesn't just end there, however. So if Jane progresses through our pipeline and she becomes a client, we can completely tailor the marketing that we're sending our clients depending on what we know about them. So if we know that Jane eventually becomes onboarded with us and her company takes a specific service with us, we could perhaps market other services, but making sure that we are sending the right content at the right time to the right people. So hopefully I've given you an overview of how we're using the marketing technology within our business. And I'm now going to hand over to Rich, who's going to demonstrate how we then take this forward from there.
Super. Yeah, thank you very much, Dan. There we are. So yes, my name is Richard. I work in the pensions and business development team of Lorem Ipsum. What I'd like to do is to introduce how the Salesforce Outlook integration works, and then I can run through our onboarding and qualification of new clients and leads process, and then also have a quick look at what Chatter in Salesforce has to offer. So starting in Outlook, this is Outlook for Mac, but it could be also Outlook for Windows. And what I have is a installed add-in for Salesforce. I can see that Dan has assigned me the new lead of Jane LeBrock. And as part of my business process, I want to thank Jane for her interest in our pension schemes. So what I'll do is I'll follow the Salesforce add in Outlook. I know from the email here that Jane is the person who's contacted us and who's become a lead. So searching in here, Jane appears as a lead, and I can see the details that she submitted on the website with her name, email address, company name, and a reminder that the source is from our website. So what I want to do is to email Jane. And I'll just keep it nice and simple here as a thank you for your interest. Although, of course, I provide a lot more detail in a regular email. Then what I need to do is to choose to log the email against a person or record in Salesforce. So it's already identified that Jane LeBrock is the person that I'm interested in. I could choose other contacts, accounts or opportunities there. I need to click save. It says your email will be related to all people and records after I send it. So my email's ready to go. I'm going to send that out now. Super. I can quickly navigate to Salesforce through the tab here. And this will take me to my Salesforce homepage. So what I want to do is have a look at what leads I currently have and may need to look after and nurture at the moment. So Jane LeBrock appears as our new lead. And as I'm sure many of you are familiar with, so a lead in Salesforce is a sort of potential opportunity that at this stage perhaps hasn't been contacted, nurtured. It's an unqualified lead. And we need to see if this person is genuinely interested in our pension products. So here's Jane's lead page. I can see her engagement history with the details of her viewing the form and completing the form on the website. And I can see that my email, "Thank you for your interest," has been automatically recorded for the future in Salesforce for me to refer to, or for perhaps my colleagues when I'm on leave, to see what contact has already been had with Jane. So we can say that we've contacted Jane and we've supported her further. She's definitely interested in our products. So we would consider her now an opportunity. So we're going to convert Jane from a lead. And in converting her from a lead, we create an account associated with Jane. We know that she already works or owns the company LeBrock Law. If this was a new individual, but as part of an existing account, we can assign them to an existing account. We know the contact is Jane LeBrock. And the opportunity, we're going to call it LeBrock Law, but it's pensions specifically that they're interested in. So that will be our name of our opportunity. And the status is qualified. So let's convert that now. So Jane goes from being a lead to now an account, LeBrock Law, with the contact and the associated opportunity. Super. What I'd like to do now is to have a look at that opportunity and the other opportunities that I'm currently managing as well. Let's go to the opportunities page. Super, yeah. So I can see all of our ongoing opportunities and the different stages that they're at the moment. We know the LeBrock Law, we've only just converted to an opportunity, so it's in this very early qualification stage. Let's have a look at that detail now of that opportunity. So here I can see my emails called in again. Thank you for your interest. That's an activity associated with this opportunity. At the moment, Jane LeBrock is the only contact associated with it. We would go through our business processes. These can be tailored for your own company and your own business stages. Once the opportunity, we hope, has been successfully closed and won, at that stage, we would then work with other client management systems for continued support of the client. So actually at Comnexa, we have experience of using NavOne, Viewpoint, and 5 Series in the finance sector, and practice management systems on the legal side. And by integrating with other systems, we remove the necessity to input data into those systems a second time, and it allows you to continue to support that customer for the future. So we know that we've created an account, LeBrock Law, but what I'd like to show you is perhaps a more active account of one of our existing customers, which is PEJ Family Office. And when I land on their account page, it gives me a 360-degree view of this account. I can see all of our contacts associated with the account. We have a number of opportunities, some of them closed, some of them ongoing, and any cases, some problems that I might need to respond to best support individuals associated with that account. On the side pan here, I can see activities such as emails, upcoming calls and meetings that I have with people associated with this account. and our first sort of introductions and contact points with them there. So I'm all done now, supporting Jane, having a look at one of our other active accounts. So what I'll do now is return to our homepage to get a reminder of what I need to focus on for the day. And when I land on our homepage, I've tailored this. It's tailorable to my interests and my focuses. I've tailored this page so that I can immediately focus on the priorities for me. And I wanted to see our pipeline, which if I hover over each month, I can see more details, a breakdown. I've asked for a summary of our closed and won business this financial year, a breakdown of opportunities by type and by stage. And again, I can hover over these parts of the charts for more detail. I also have our campaign return on investments. So we have a number of campaigns, including what we've called Pensions White Paper campaign, which Dan introduced with the web to lead form. And we can see that this campaign is already really successful. It's already got a healthy return on investment rate there. I've also asked to see outbound referrals and inbound referrals. So these are leads that came to us either from internally or externally. And if I hover over these again, it gives a breakdown of the organization and individuals that have referred business to us. I've also asked for a really quick summary of teams and meetings that are happening this month, how much activity is going on. And then I get a healthy reminder in this side tab here about my tasks today. So I've got a task, a reminder to email Mark Martins and to reserve a meeting space to catch up with Janice Peers. And I have a call that I should be doing very shortly with an individual as well. We've also tailored this dashboard so that it has a news feed, which is based on it's pulling information from the accounts that we hold and the types of businesses that we support. So if we had telecommunications, manufacturing, etc., it'd be searching for news articles related to those. So I can have a quick look at that. So after that, I just want to get a more of a sense of what's going on across our company and communicate with others. So we can use the feature in Salesforce called Chatter, which is very much in some ways akin to a social media collaboration space. So we can see there's been quite a lot of activity and communication in our company here. I asked a question to see whether we think our clients would be comfortable coming to socially distanced events. And this is a poll, an active poll that people can vote on. And if an individual chooses to comment on one of these, they can, of course, tag individuals and they'll receive notifications that they've been tagged to take action or to comment. And also we can link and remind people of the accounts that we're talking about or the campaigns that we're talking about here. So that's everything from me on the Chatter side. I'd like to now hand over to our business executive at Lorem Ipsum.
Thank you, Richard. So one of the main things that I want to do as an executive is keep an eye out on how my team is doing and where our resources are focused. So when we look at the opportunities object, we can see here all of the opportunities that we have currently by stage, and it gives me quite a nice overview of where we are. Now, the first thing that I can see on here is that there are a lot of these little warning signs, and that basically tells me that there are no current activities or tasks for those opportunities. So that can help me point my team or nudge them to make contact with the potential, with the client for the potential opportunity. So when we look at one that does have an activity, like we discussed earlier, we can see the activities upcoming and historic, the roles associated with the opportunity, and it gives me kind of a nice overview. But what I want to see really is the really top level information, what I want to talk to my colleagues at the board level and For that, I need some information that I can relay quite easily so that we can make intelligent decisions on how we should position ourselves for the upcoming week or month or quarter. As Rich was saying, we've got these dashboards. They can be customized for individual users depending on their role within the business. And behind all of these charts, we've got reports. And if I click on one of them, it shows me an overview of all of the opportunities that we have by the stage, who's related to them, who owns the opportunity, what account is linked to them. And it kind of gives me a nice summary. We can add charts in here as well, and we can add various filters, and it just kind of makes it easier to understand and easier to present as well. And that kind of gives you a nice overview. But if you want to delve a little bit deeper and have a kind of more interactive approach, or you can use a system called Einstein Analytics, and it's an analytical tool that uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to do a lot of the work for you. And it also provides a very, again, interactive view of everything. So this dashboard is basically an overview of accounts, opportunities, leads, and activities. And again, it's all of the information across Salesforce, across our business, in one place. The thing that's quite nice here is that it's all interactive. So say I click on this, everything changes across the board, and I can see what relates to the accounts in the finance industry. Well, in this case, what I want to see is PEJ. And when we're looking here, I can see that we've got 5 opportunities across various stages. We can see that those opportunities vary quite significantly, or fairly significantly across each opportunity, when they'll be closing, and the value of where they are. I can see also that there are no leads linked to that account for the time being. And further down, I can see the activities that are ongoing or that will be, that have been completed, sorry, or are upcoming. If I then go into the details tab, I can delve even further into all of the opportunities, and I can see, for example, here, the contacts associated with this account. Following on from that, there is the point actually on activities, which is a system kind of linked to Einstein Analytics. It's called Einstein Activity Capture. It uses similar artificial intelligence technology, and it basically captures all of your activities from the likes of Outlook or Gmail and uploads them into the system so that you don't have to worry about that. It does it all in the background, and then you can refer back to them, and it relates everything. And it's just a very neat way of doing things and saving time for your users. Following on from that, there is a mobile app that you can use, which basically is everything that you can do on Salesforce on your desktop, but you can do it on your mobile phone or on a tablet. So when we're looking at it, it looks a little bit like this. And this is the dashboard that we were looking at before. And again, all of the same information is there. Just put it into tablet mode. And what this allows you to do is just keep your data up to date as you're on the go. So if you are at a conference and you meet someone, you can go into your leads and you can create new ones. And it's basically everything again that you can see on your desktop, but mobile. And that's very helpful. And it's very helpful also because you can use this when you're offline. So if you've got no internet connection, you can start filling in the records details, and when you eventually get a Wi-Fi connection, you can then, well, it will automatically upload the information that you've set out. Now, lastly, something that's quite useful is when you go to conferences or when you go to a meeting, likelihood is you'll be given a business card, and it can be quite time consuming when you collect quite a few of them to manually input all of the data, and it can lead to user error or just certain inconsistencies. And there are lots of apps around, one of which is called Vision E, which is a card scanning app. And this uses artificial intelligence as well. And when you scan the business card into the system, the app will read the information on it, and it will create either leads or contacts and associate them as relevant, depending on whether the related account is there or there's an opportunity there or things like that. And that just generally saves a lot of time for everybody. And that is all from me for now. So I will pass back over to Phil.
Thanks, Axel. If anybody has any further questions, please do submit them. We've had one come through, which is regarding lead scoring. So probably one for you, Dan. It says, can we only get lead scores for people we have details on?
You can get lead scores for anybody. So in the example that we showed, we actually installed some code on our website. So it will place a cookie on people's browsers. Obviously, they would have to consent to the cookie policy, but it would place a cookie on their browser and track what they do. Let's say they go to your website, we don't know who they are, and then they leave. It still tracks that information. So if they come back in a week or two's time, and they then submit the form, we will basically backdate all of the information automatically, so we get a full view of what they're doing. If they then happen to, if they happen to go on the website and they were interested in multiple things, we could assign scores or retrospectively assign scores on those things. So the owner can be assigned quite intelligently. So yes, it is possible to go all the way back, even to the point where we don't know who they are. It works really well if you're emailing your clients. So you're emailing your clients, they then click a link to go to your website. And then because they've clicked the link, it immediately knows who they are. So if they then return to your website in a week or two's time, you already know who they are. So you're sort of not playing catch up.
I think a lot of businesses put emphasis on doing things like improving their SEO and improving the volume of web traffic that comes to their site without necessarily thinking about how they can actually make that actionable. So what Dan's just described there is how we can actually take successful web traffic and turn it into something that the sales teams, i.e. the role that Rich was performing, can actually take and do something with. And likewise, if people were to click on other areas of our site, so people go and visit the trust page or the funds page, we can then use that information to make sure we allocate them to the funds or the trust business development representative instead of Rich, who looks after pensions, so that the correct people are getting the correct leads. And even then they can use that data to prioritize their day best. So they can look at it and say, well, actually, I've got two hours today to spend on calling prospects. I'm going to call anybody who has a score of greater than 50. And then anybody who has a score below that, I'll get round to them if I have time, but at least they're sort of using their time proactively. Do we have any further questions? I don't believe we do. So if that's all, then I want to say thank you to everybody for attending. If anybody thinks of anything they would like to ask us, please do not hesitate to contact us and we'll do our best to help. The session has been recorded and will be available on our website. So if you'd like to share it with any of your team members, then please do. But otherwise, thank you once again and enjoy the rest of your day.